All right, shall we wrap up?
I think so. I don't.
My wrap up is super short, so I feel
Yeah.
like I should just get it out of the way.
Go for it.
So I watched The Music Man on Monday with you.
And
Um,
yeah, that was a movie.
and our mother. It was a movie that our mother wanted to watch. We do these Zoom movies on Mondays, and I enjoyed it. It's. I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, it's musical numbers, and some of the musical numbers are a lot of fun, and the story is pretty silly, and it's about a traveling salesman who ends up finally finding a
It's
place.
so our mom's kind of movie. A traveling salesman goes to town to basically just swindle these people out of money, but in the process of doing it, he gets everybody into music, and that enriches the lives of the people of the town. And so everybody ends up better off, and he, realizes the true value of friendship, etc.
Yeah,
I'm
and
being sarcastic. It's good. It's not my kind of thing.
no, and ultimately I enjoyed it, and I'm like,
It's
oh, it's kind of
solid.
fun.
It's a
I'm
solid
getting
movie.
it's a solid movie. I'm getting more into musicals, and I sort of appreciate that musicals are like their own sort of fantasy movie. Like we talk about fantasy, and we're usually talking like orcs and elves, but like musicals are fantasies.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I just had never really kind of put that together in my head, so I need to watch some more musicals. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. I like some other musicals more, but it was fun. The other movie I watched was Police Story, um, which my girlfriend Jill had never seen, and I'd seen many years ago. And
I may have seen it, but I don't remember very well.
it's one of Jackie Chan's most famous movies, at least in particular of his Chinese. I think it was made in Hong Kong, but one of his Chinese language films. I was interesting watching it as an adult because I didn't quite like it as much probably as when I was a kid. Though the moment that the we get to the action scenes, I just love all of it because it's great. It's just Jackie running around, getting horribly beat up and injured, and doing amazing things while he does it. This one has a really famous opener and ender as far as action scenes go. And then it was amusing watching it because it seemed like they had like one wide angle lens, and it was a really like a fisheye wide angle lens, and that was how they were filming all of the interiors for certain like rooms because that's just the space they had, I guess, and they wanted to get
Mm-hmm.
the whole room. I don't know. It was funny because like just everything's like curling at the edges of the screen, and it's like I don't know why you're doing that in this scene. You don't really need to. Anyways, so that was fun to watch. Um, it also, I also realized that it has the actress whose name is now escaping me, Maggie Chung, I think, who is in it and is also in the Mood for Love, which I watched last year and I want to rewatch. And so, I mean, she's had a long career, but so just interesting. And then the last thing I watched, or I watched, what really is that I finished watching was Rick and Morty. I have now seen all 4 seasons of it. I don't think it's ended or canceled or anything, so presumably there will be more seasons. But I've seen it up to the most recent episodes. I mostly I don't have a lot to say because it's kind of what it is. It's that thing where like I never really got into The Simpsons because it's too much like a sitcom ultimately, even though it's like raunchy and full of Homer yelling at things.
I
And I
wouldn't
never,
call The Simpsons raunchy, but other than that, yes.
not raunchy, but just like that. It just like
Subversive at times,
subversive, maybe. I
maybe?
don't know. It's just whatever kind of humor it is, whatever.
But
Like I
like
just
Homer and Marge aren't getting it on in The Simpsons, so
fair, more like poop jokes and stuff. But anyways, I guess I don't. Thing is, I don't watch a lot of Simpsons. So I don't even really know.
I
But
don't
like,
think. Yeah,
so anyways, the point being, I don't like it that much because it's too much like a sitcom. And the problem is that South Park and Family Guy are also kind of too much sitcoms for me at a certain point. Like I don't know. It doesn't, for whatever reason, the format doesn't work for me. I like South Park more, but
now that's raunchy.
South Park is more raunchy. Family Guy isn't raunchy, and I like the way they do irreverent humor on Family Guy and the whole chicken fight thing. But like, I just never really got into those shows because it's yeah. Whereas Rick and Morty is just like it's a little bit shorter. I think they've got like 10 episode seasons, 30 minutes an episode roughly, and I kind of just dig it because like they really are just like it's all sci-fi. Like if it wasn't as sci-fi, I wouldn't care as much. But it's
Yeah,
just
that's
like
probably what gets you there.
yeah, it's probably what gets me there and gets me past the sitcom aspect to it. And plus, like there are large chunks of it where like the whole point is that nobody's growing and like learning anything. Like Rick has just always been a bad person and continues to be a bad person, basically. And like, so I don't know. I
I
enjoy
haven't
Rick and
seen
Morty.
much of it, but I'm smiling, remembering the one where like iced tea becomes like a space
Oh,
iced.
He becomes a crystal. Yeah.
He's like, and just yelling at people from the sky or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty that one's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of good episodes. I now understand a lot of jokes that sort of I'm not on the social media that much, so I'm not a part of meme culture, but like I've heard a few things like what was it, like Anatomy Park or like Pickle Rick or whatever, and it's like
Yeah,
I now
Pickle Rick.
understand what those things mean or where they come from.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we finished that, and I'm glad to have done that, and it was enjoyable. That's what I watched. I didn't really do a lot of movies this week.
Me either. Was really in the mood for problematic / patriarchal Chinese dramas, so
Okay.
found a couple of those. Just ones where you're in the mood for something specific, where you're like, okay, I'm looking for anything with the tab controlling boyfriend. Like, and they're out there. I mean, I am by no means an expert on Chinese dramas, but in general, I've noticed they're a little more patriarchal than the Korean and the Japanese, which have their moments too. So I finished Perfect and Casual, and I watched Be With You, which both had kind of older men with younger women who just kept messing their lives up a little bit. And I enjoyed them. I don't know that I have too much. I was texting you, like, I don't even know how far I should go into this one, but I thought, like, I can enjoy problematic interpersonal relationships between a Chinese man and a Chinese woman. But I was watching a scene yesterday that went to a problematic area that I'm not really okay with, which is where they were in England, which had very new looking brick buildings. So it was definitely somewhere in China. And on these shows, they get white people to play white people, but they get the wrong kind of white people. So they speak English with like heavy accents, and they're supposed to be British, and they are not British. They're not even close to British.
Right.
So they kept talking to people like in England who had like German accents or whatever. It's fine.
Right.
And then they walk down the steps and encounter some black people who immediately try to rob them, and I am like,
right.
No, I am not, like, this is really bad. So racism is not just a problem in the United States, which I knew already. There's colorism that pops up on these shows. You do not want to be Southeast Asian, because Southeast Asians tend to have darker skin.
Well,
so
yeah.
Northeast Asians can be racist towards them. It happens. It's not good.
Well, because you and I watch enough Japanese stuff, we understand that there are some real big issues between the Japanese and Korean people.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but like there's some racist stuff going on there.
Or prejudice. Well, I mean, these places have histories, like we were talking about, and we tend to see them as monocultures. All Chinese people are the same, but it's not, No.
There's a lot of... Some of it's racism and some of it's prejudice. I keep forgetting that I need to correct myself when I use these terms, because
and there's and there's sexism and patriarchy going on in there too, for sure. Yeah. I just happen to be in the mood for protective older men. Don't ask. That was what I was watching. But it's interesting too what is more culturally accepted, and again, this is all being taken from what they're producing as television. Right. In China, the government like literally has a say in it, whereas I do think there are like laws and rules in Korea and Japan about what can and can't be, but it's a little bit less so. Yeah. But like in Korea, you do not see much in the way of age differences. Like it's right. Culturally, it seems less accepted. Right. Whereas Japan and China don't seem to have the same problems culturally with it. So it's just interesting to see kind of what crops up and what. And I think I've been talking about this for the past few times we've done this, so I won't go too deep into it. But yeah, it's just, and I have a weird fondness for the men's fashion in China. Again, it's a small sample size, but there's a lot of like suits and conservative clothing in the Korean shows. I feel like it's in New York, and I like it, but I get very bored by it. Like very nice coats, very nice button-up shirts, dress shoes, like, and and interesting too, and what we would consider what United States culture would consider feminine, which I don't really consider, is, manly men in Korea will wear, like,
Yeah.
and be manly, and but also, there's more crying and they're still manly men.
Right.
So that's, but in China there, it's a little more, I almost want to say it makes me think of California more, in that it's a little more off the wall. I'm watching one where, like, this young CEO is wearing these, like, graphic tees, and he's got rings and a necklace, which I don't think I've ever seen. The only character I've seen wear anything like that on a Korean show was an actor. And so he was, just kind of young and fashionable that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I watched a whole Chinese show that was because it was esports, and they all looked like sporty goths. So, um, the women's fashion I'm less into. But again, my sample size is small, and also, China seems to have a lot of historical dramas, a lot, and that is something I've yet to get myself into, and that's a completely different
Ball game.
bucket, can of worms, something. Anyway, so that's where I've been.
Cool. I've also been watching. We started The Mandalorian yesterday, because Jill was like, "Well, it's 6 episodes. I think it's just 6, and it's not even an hour an episode, so it's like super quick to get through. We might even finish it today." So I enjoy season 1. Everybody lost their freaking minds about season 1. Not everybody, but like a lot of the nerd stuff I follow, like online and YouTube, and some of the stuff I see go by on Facebook, the one time a week I check it or whatever. And like I watched season 1 of The Mandalorian, and I'm like, this is a fun little Western show set in sci-fi land. It was enjoyable. It wasn't amazing. I'm sorry, everybody. People were craving good sci-fi, good Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess so. I just, like, I know you think I'm being vindictive or something, but I just don't care about any Star Wars stuff anymore. No, I know everybody says it's good, but like, there's a lot of good stuff out there that I haven't watched, and it's fine.
You don't have to care about Star Wars. I do think you're a little vindictive about The Last Jedi, but not Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's just an enjoyable little show. It's not amazing. It's not the best thing on television. It's not the best show ever made. It's not the best Star Wars thing. It's fine. I'm glad that everybody has something Star Wars that isn't Clone Wars.
You haven't even finished it though, and you're already like, I don't know.
Yeah, I get a little defensive, I guess, because like everybody's talking how amazing it is, and then I'm just like kind of put off by it because it's like,
that's the danger. I mean, that's the danger of expectations with anything. I've really enjoyed things because my expectations were low. Yeah. For example, which is
yeah. Anyways, the whole point of this is I'm watching season 2, and I've enjoyed the episodes I've watched so far. Again, it's an enjoyable show. And then I also we finally finished season 7 of SG1, which means we have exactly 3 seasons to go now. Stargate SG1.
Excellent.
And I don't think we've been watching anything else because we finished Rick and Morty. I'm gonna try and get Jill to start a K-drama. When we were playing Among Us yesterday, Kirby was talking about some other Korean show, but it's like a monster show, Sweet Home or something. And I was thinking in my head, like, I kind of, that sounds kind of interesting, but if I watched that before I watched a K-drama, Sarah would just kill me. I don't really want to do that. But I also want to watch like Lovecraft Country, and I threw on this Netflix show Away that has apparently had 1 season and that's it, even though it's supposed to, I think, have like 3 or 4 or something. I want
to watch Watchmen. I haven't watched Watchmen.
Yeah, that's on our list too.
Georgia, what's the Donald Glover's?
Oh, right. Oh, shoot. I don't remember the name of it, but I've heard of that one. I don't know that one sounds as much like it's my thing, but I've heard of it.
Why has the name escaped me so badly?
I don't know.
Atlanta. I said Georgia instead of Atlanta. I was so close.
You were very close. Yeah, no, I just needed something new to watch yesterday, and so I threw Away on because I'd seen it go by on Netflix.
I don't know anything about that.
It's Hilary Swank, and it's about going to Mars, and it's a sci-fi show. And occasionally I just throw these on because I like watching sci-fi stuff, and I needed it. And
we've been watching Unsolved Mysteries, and so I have a podcaster I love to listen to, and he has become popular enough that model who's also big on social media, Chrissy Teigen,
Yeah.
actually commented because he recaps the unsolved mysteries, and every time he's upset that they're not unsolved, and so she was commenting on like how much fun it is to listen to him get upset that these mysteries are not solved. And some of them are like, we unfortunately with some unsolved mysteries you know what happened and it's just cannot prove it.
Right.
But we watched one like in the last week where it was just like, well, I'm gonna have bad dreams, and then I did. It just was.
Oh God.
It was so weird. What had what had gone on before this man ended up dead was just so weird that for me in that moment, it's I think if anyone's listening and cares, God only knows. Sometimes people listen to us.
We get like 1 or 2 views on our wrap-up videos, so probably not. But I mean, hey, why not? Again, this is all
It was
for
the
us.
Washington Insider one, and are you ever going to watch these unsolved? You're too young to even remember the original Unsolved Mysteries very well.
I decided to put a cap at like documentaries and like podcasts. I don't think I'm going to watch Unsolved Mysteries. I just can't go down that rabbit hole.
You remember
that?
You remember how big a moment it was in Mumford though, because he was on Unsolved Mysteries,
Yes,
right?
yes, Robert Stackhouse.
So this guy was kind of a big Washington D.C. guy, and he went home. He's married, but they own 2 homes, so he went to be by himself in one of the homes, not out of any, just for work reasons.
Yeah.
And like his phone is left across the street at an abandoned at a building that's being built that he was against, that's been smoke bombed. His house has all this stuff strewn all over the place in the kitchen. He ends up like getting someone to give him a ride somewhere else, where he then is in a building for like a day and no one knows why. And there's all this surveillance footage. What makes the creepiest thing in the world to me is surveillance footage, where you're just like, what is going on here? Because he did have bipolar, but he was usually medicated, and it's terrible to just like blame I hate the modern tendency of blaming everything on our brains, even though like our brains can be problematic, let's say.
Yeah.
And then he's like in a black hoodie, and he's a Washington D.C. insider. He does not wear black hoodies ever. Like, he's an older man. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then he walks off frame, and the next thing we know, he's like dead in another state. But this is the East Coast, so other states are very close. But in a landfill, and it's just like all his activities are so strange. And yeah, I had bad dreams. So anyway,
I'm sorry you had bad dreams. Well, I probably there have been a few things go by on Netflix that are like true crime things that I've been curious to watch, but
I've been slow about them lately. But the Unsolved Mysteries, it's just like one episode and you're done, kind of, and then you feel bad for the rest of the day. It's great.
I still want to watch The Jinx, which I know was really popular when it came out. I'm like way late on that.
There's certain things that I just listen to recaps of, and I'm like, I'm never gonna watch Tiger King. I don't want to watch. Oh, there was another one. I don't want to watch The Jinx. Like, I'm good. I don't. Don't Mess with Cats. I'm not gonna watch that. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't want to watch the Don't Mess with
either
Cats,
of those at all. So.
I'm good, thanks. Anyways, all right. So what are we watching in the future? It's finally time to watch Life Force. That's the next movie.
Oh, my cat just freaked out, even though she couldn't hear you say that. Yes, no, if I'm not careful, I could end up watching that today because someone is so excited to watch Life Force with me. And apparently I've watched it before, but I fell asleep.
Right. So we're watching Life Force. And then we're also watching Dead Space, which is my biggest cheat on the list because it technically had a theatrical release, and I was trying to stick to theatrical released movies. But it was more or less a straight to DVD movie.
Got it.
I just had trouble finding movies in the 90s that really fit the theme that well. Yeah. So I just chose it because why not? So Life Force from 1985 and Dead Space from 1991, not to be mistaken with the video game that I think is also called Dead Space, which I don't think has anything to do with the movie.
Yeah.
I have not chosen what I'm going to have you watch yet. I don't have anything even on the top of my mind. I'll figure something out. And then yeah, I don't know. I don't have any plans to watch anything too much. I might finally get Jill to watch
I think
Stargate, the
we're
movie.
watching a Peter Sellers film.
Yeah, we're watching a Peter Sellers film tomorrow. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure that's what we settled on. I might watch another Godzilla movie. I've got a couple of those left on the box set I have. I don't know. I don't have any big plans. I'll finish The Mandalorian, and then after that, who knows what I'll be watching.
I'm feeling like I'm going to move away from patriarchal Chinese dramas towards something else, but I'm not sure what.
Excellent.
That's what I got.
That's a good shift, I think. All right, time to go eat lunch and do other things.
Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.